Five most important board games in history. Number 5. Tafel games. Tafel was a very popular game among the Vikings. One player aims to get his king from the center of the board to the edges, while the other does everything he can to capture him. Tafel spread across Europe and became the chess of its day. Noblemen would boast of their skill on the board. Tafel was the inspiration for the game Thud, based on Terry Pratchett's Discworld series. There is still the occasional world championship, but the fact that these take place on an island with a population of 86 makes me doubt how much of a world championship it really is. A bit more pillaging may be in order. Number 4. The Landlord's Game. The Landlord's Game was invented in 1903 by Maryland actress Lizzie Magie. The game board consisted of a square track, with a row of properties around the outside that players could buy. The game board had 4 railroads, 2 utilities, a jail, and a corner named Labor Upon Mother Earth Produces Wages, which earned players $100 each time they passed it. This should all sound quite familiar. The fact is, the Landlord's Game was patented 3 decades before Charles Darrow invented Monopoly and sold it to Parker Brothers. The Landlord's Game, later known as Prosperity, was intended to illustrate the social injustice created by land ownership and rent poverty. It also offered a solution to this injustice. Players could opt to have rent from properties they owned paid into a communal pot, which would then be shared out, making things better for everyone. Number 3. The 16th-century Indian game of Vaikuntapally, also known as Leela, was a tool for teaching morality and spirituality. It was the game that went on to be launched as Chutes and Ladders in America. In the original version, the climbing of a ladder was supposed to show players the value of good deeds in the search for enlightenment. The chutes or snakes were meant to show that vices such as theft and murder would bring spiritual harm to the sinner. Number 2. Nine Men's Morris. A precursor to tic-tac-toe, Nine Men's Morris is a game in which counters are placed on a grid with the aim of creating lines of 3. Once all the pieces are down, they can be moved 1 space per move. Whenever a player forms a row of 3, he can remove one of his opponent's pieces from the board. The first player down to 2 pieces loses. Number 1. The Mansion of Happiness. When Parker Brothers republished The Mansion of Happiness, an instructive moral and entertaining amusement, in 1894, they claimed that it had been the first board game published in the U.S. way back in 1843. The game was in fact probably the second game published in the U.S., but it is still noteworthy as a successor to the Race to the Afterlife theme common in many older religious games.